From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, July the 30th, 2018. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met once again yesterday with leaders of the Druze community in Israel to address their concerns and criticism of the recently passed nation-state bill, which the Druze feel excludes them. Netanyahu met with Druze local council heads to explain why the law was passed and shared his remarks on social media. The Prime Minister said there are unending attempts to rescind the definition of the State of Israel as the national state of the Jewish people. We legislated the nation-state law to ensure that Israel will remain the national state of our people. He stressed, though, that the law does not detract at all from the individual rights of anybody. He said it is designed to make the necessary legal balance in order to ensure the character of the State of Israel with, he said, full equal rights for all of its citizens. The Prime Minister added that he would establish a team led by his Chief of Staff, Yoav Horowitz, to find a solution, recommend actions that would strengthen the important ties with the Druze community. United Nations envoy for Middle East peace Nikolai Mladenov met yesterday in Cairo with Egyptian Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry on the recent escalation in violence in Gaza in an attempt to reduce tensions between Israel and the Palestinians, improve the humanitarian situation in Gaza, and try to restart peace talks. Mladenov, who met just a few days ago with the head of Hamas in Gaza and with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, said the meetings in Cairo were positive. He wrote on social media, "A productive day of meetings with Egypt officials on our efforts to de-escalate the situation in Gaza, resolve all humanitarian issues, and support Egyptian-led reconciliation process." He wrote, "The devil is always in the details, but we are moving forward in the interest of peace." A synagogue in Indiana was vandalized with anti-Semitic graffiti over the weekend. A swastika, Nazi flags, and iron crosses, as well as an anti-gay slur, were discovered spray-painted on a shed at Congregation Sharei Tefillah in Carmel, near Indianapolis, on Saturday. Rabbi Benjamin Cedro, who leads the conservative congregation, said intolerance, hatred, and violent acts against Jews are significant realities today. He said the response to this heinous act affirms that America is collectively outraged at these hateful acts in our neighborhood. Carmel Mayor Jim Brainerd said there is no place for this kind of hatred in Carmel. We must never forget and never stop fighting against the hatred that led to the murder of 6 million Jews. He said these images that represent the ideas that led to those crimes are not reflective of what our city stands for. And U.S. Vice President Mike Pence, who hails from Indiana, took to social media, writing he was sickened and appalled by the cowardly act of vandalism. He wrote, "These vile acts of anti-Semitism must end. Local police are investigating." A bipartisan bill was introduced in the Senate to keep a collection of Iraqi Jewish artifacts in the United States. The bill is led by Republican Senators Pat Toomey of Pennsylvania, Marco Rubio of Florida, Democratic Senators Chuck Schumer of New York, and Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut. The collection includes 2,700 books, religious texts, and civic documents that were recovered by U.S. soldiers from the basement of Saddam Hussein's secret police headquarters back in 2003. An initial agreement stated that the U.S. would restore the material and send it back to Iraq. The items were restored and have been on display by the National Archives and Records Administration throughout the country since 2013, but they are due to be returned this September. The resolution would like that time extended. Toomey said it makes no sense for this material to return to Iraq when the vast majority of Iraqi Jews and their descendants live in the diaspora. Schumer said these invaluable cultural treasures, like a prayer book and Torah scrolls, belong to the people and their descendants who were forced to leave them behind as they were exiled from Iraq. Tunisia is set to host the 2019 World Schools Chess Championship next year, but that might change if they don't allow a young Israeli girl to take part. Israel's Hadashot News reported that 7-year-old Israeli chess champion Leah Levitan won't be able to take part because Tunisia does not grant visas to Israelis. Israel education organization Stand With Us started a petition urging the World Chess Federation to get involved, which they did. And the Jerusalem Post reports that Federation Secretary Polina Sedinova said the organization is taking necessary measures to put pressure on Tunisia to allow entry of all participants. She said they had requested an urgent explanation regarding Levitan and were requesting written confirmation that the 2019 championship will provide visas to all participants. Only after that, she said, will the organization of the tournament be confirmed for them. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Monday, July the 30th. At 7 o'clock, it's The Wisdom of Dr. Ruth. At 7:30, a discussion of anti-Israel bias in the New York Times with former New York Times reporter Ari Goldman, author Laurel Leff, and the Allgemeiner's Ira Stoll with Allgemeiner editor David Afun from the American Sephardi Federation of New York. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with Israeli journalist Ben-Dror Yamini on L'chaim. At 10, legendary director, producer, comedian Carl Reiner speaks at the 92nd Street Y. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 6:30, it's the ILTV debate program Frenemies. And that's the JBS News Update for Monday, July the 30th, 2018. I'm Teisha Bader.